everybody. Welcome back to the That's Awesome podcast with your host, Mark Haran. I'm here today with Mr. Stephen McKinney, and we're really excited to have him today. It's winter break where I am, and it's not my usual setup, but we're going to make it work. And like always, Mr. McKinney, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. I guess we're in the same place. It's winter break for me too.
Yeah. It must be nice. No, it's good. It's good, especially with like everything going on and stuff. Like breaks are important, you know.
Yeah, this has been a tough semester, hasn't it? So an earlier break.
Yeah,
has been helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So a little bit about Mr. McKinney. Stephen currently serves as a doctoral student in our Apparel, Merchandising, and Design program at Iowa State University within the Department of Apparel, Events, and Hospitality Management. Stephen currently supervises Innovate 1858, which is our newly opened and renovated Student Innovation Center building on campus. And within it, the department has a couple of spaces that we have been highlighting over the course of the semester, one of which includes Innovate 1858, which is a student-run retail store. And Stephen focuses on the analytics of the financial performance of the store, specifically for the fall 20 and spring 2021 semester. He received his Bachelor of Business Administration and Master of Business Administration from Texas Christian University. And he also received his graduate certificate in business intelligence from Southern Methodist University. He has extensive experience in the apparel and retail industries, working with Nieman Marcus, Macy's, Accenture, and the Army and Air Force Exchange Service. Stephen has taught merchandising classes as an adjunct instructor for Tennessee Technological University. And his dissertation topic is about student internship experiences within the retail setting. So, Mr. McKinney, once again, thank you for joining us on the show.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I sound better on paper than I think my experience, than what I remember it.
Sure.
But I mean, I've I was in retail for a lot of years before coming to be a PhD student. And then, I've taught some classes. I taught one online class at Tennessee Tech, and then I've worked for Dr. Hurst in the department teaching the buying class, the Excel class,
Okay.
376.
Mm-hmm.
So you've done that. Just maybe a little bit more in depth, I guess, of my experience as to where I'm coming from. I mean, I guess just about every career path in retail I've touched in some way, shape, or form. And so I've worked on the selling floor, managing a department. I've managed a cash office and deposits and cash, receiving department. I've gift wrapped thousands of Christmas packages. I worked with marketing department, advertising, IT. I've done worked with systems implementations, price optimization. I've done pop-up shops, consulting work, management consulting, training buyers. Just about everything.
Yeah, that's definitely more than I had on my document with all the experiences you've had. So with all of the experiences that you have had and that you've experienced, how does that make you who you are today? Where has it, maybe changed your interests or career path, anything like that?
I felt like it sets up well to move into academia because I haven't really specialized in any one particular path in retail, and a lot of my friends, colleagues, and that are still out in the industry, I mean, they specialize in buying or planning or marketing or store management. And I've almost been a journeyman.
Sure.
But I've always liked helping other folks learn. And I mean, I got more of a kick out of people that worked for me or worked with me getting the awards or getting the promotions than, well, me getting the awards. Um, and so just helping other people learn. And in that broad experience, I think I hope is useful to bring into a classroom or to students to say, here's what the retail industry looks like in every aspect, give them a little bit better understanding. Maybe they're better prepared for their careers. Certainly, I hope it would give them an opportunity, if they pick my brain, maybe they know how to deal with different people they'll come into contact with at any given retailer. How to talk to the guys at the receiving dock or the distribution center or the folks in marketing or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially during a time like this, I guess you could say you're kind of learning with them on, the new normal for the retail industry and stuff like that. Not to say that, there's not some valuable information that you can give them, but if it's definitely a learning experience.
I've heard this from colleagues, and I've seen this in print. I mean, and retail, we're always trying to put everything in context and look in the past to try to deal with our current reality in the future. And there's nothing to draw upon, right, for what we're experiencing now in the retail industry. I mean, well, everything, right? Everything we're doing, this is new.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm right there learning how to open a store and run a store in a pandemic, and how to communicate safety to employees and to customers. I mean, retailers will say safety has always been an issue or an important concern, but not like this.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, and with the opening of, the Student Innovation Center and Innovate 1858, it's something that often I'd like to say it went unnoticed this semester. It was, and not to say the whole opening wasn't unnoticed, but people need to realize that, like, the spaces that we've been putting out and we've been highlighting, these are spaces for them, and it's sad and it's disappointing that they can't experience like the full magnitude of it this semester.
We had big plans back in last fall and the spring when we were really buckling down to get this store launched.
Yeah.
I mean, events and we designed the space to be kind of an inclusive, immersive, experiential store. You can't do that. And yeah, it was the university wide, right? The message was kind of like, really stay away unless you need to be here. And we wanted to operate within that. Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, absolutely. But nonetheless, it, some very successful parts to the store, and it's a great start. And it's not only about the short term; it's about the long term. And that space is going to be around for quite a while. And students, faculty, alumni, all these different types of the Ames community, they're all gonna at some point experience what the store was really made for. So can you share some insights about, what the store Innovate 1858 and maybe the Student Innovation Center itself stands for?
I'll try. I mean, obviously it's about innovation.
Yeah.
But specific with the store, it's an opportunity, I think, for the department and for students to internalize innovation and what that means to them. And I think perhaps one of the plus sides of the way this semester has played out, I hope the students that were involved with it can get a good sense of the piece of innovation that's about solving problems that exist. I mean, that's really a lot of times that's what's that's what is at the heart of innovation is, solving a problem, doing something differently to fix something. And I think this was a good opportunity to see that in action in the store.
Absolutely. Nice. Yes.
Mhm.
In the store itself, you were talking about how it's a lot of it is student creations and student inputs and ideas coming to life. So what do you currently offer within the store?
Yeah, I mean, most of the product in the store has been designed or produced or developed by a student in some way, shape, or form. And then we have a smattering, a small piece of merchandise that really a student went out and sourced a lot of the stickers that you see and stuff that kind of augmented or filled out the assortment. But yeah, I mean, so really everything in the store had student involvement or input into it to get it into the store. But I mean, everything we sell, I mean, we're the only place you can sell the ISU tartan.
Mhm.
So that beautiful plaid design, we've got a lot of the product in there that's been selling really, really great, especially like the higher end, higher price point stuff that we have. We have wool and silk scarves, we have ties and mugs, and that has resonated pretty well with students and really well with with the faculty and with the alumni.
Absolutely.
And so, and then I don't know, did I mention it? I'm trying to remember what I did. I mean, no, that was designed by a student in-house, Madeline Dunn, and then um, Dr. Amy Shane Nichols, as a grad student at the time, helped develop the product. So, students involved there. We've got the scarf design competition winners and scarves there. And then we've got a couple of makers. Linda Tong has her planners in there, and then she's really taken off. Her online business has done well. You can find her in the bookstore. So, it's really a win for us to see a student grow her business that way, and having been involved in it early on. Archana Edmonds is it's a grad student, and she has some jewelry in there. So and that's kind of a broad assortment that we've got.
I agree with you. It's it's also important to realize that this store is also maybe a stepping stone for their businesses and their opportunities for growth. So
Yeah. It's it's always I feel like it's a good sign that you have a good buying staff or a good buyer when you find the next big thing. And so, I mean, I don't know that we found Linda Tong. Her trajectory was going up when we brought her into the store anyway, but
mhm,
to be able to see her explode is a good sign for a store and a buyer. And then so now we can go find the next one.
absolutely. About the space itself, um, we were talking about the the student element to it, and I think it's definitely one of the most, if not the most unique store on campus in the sense that it is completely and wholly student ran. Um, a lot of the other buildings, there's some other elements, the university is um, involved and stuff like that. But this, you have complete student workers working on marketing and the sales
Mhm.
aspect and store layout, safety, and administrative tasks and stuff like that. How is that spread out throughout the course of this last semester with the student workers?
Has it spread out or
Yeah.
how's it?
So what's your team composed of? Do you have?
Oh, yeah, we've got 12 students on staff. We had this past semester. We had 5 of them we had 2 tiers. We had a sales lead, kind of a little bit more of a managerial role, and then we had these sales associates. And we had about 5 sales leads. And so, at any given point in time, they're managing the selling floor and trying to encourage the sales staff to invite customers in and get them to experience the store and try to sell as best as they could.
Mhm.
And then in addition, they had different tasks, whether it's like you mentioned, marketing, scheduling, managing the staff of the store. And then we gave them projects. So they came together and worked as a team to develop the holiday set for the store. And so if you went in store today or, right before Thanksgiving, before we had closed for the semester, for the couple of weeks at the end of the semester, I mean, it looks holiday-ish, and it's got the decor around. We've got gift boxes available for sale. All done by the students. And so they planned it, they executed it, and really, like myself, I was just a worker for them.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's an awesome way to put it. Definitely. This semester too, you guys also implemented an online store. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So was that also did student involvement play there in some role?
In some role, yes, and it's their role is growing as we go on. It was largely, and I take that back. Zoe and myself were grad students, right? So in a sense, yeah, student involved. If you
Yeah.
consider me a student.
Uh-huh.
But the two of us kind of primarily designed it and kicked it off. But it was the students that their photography we use, some of their copy and descriptions we use in there. And so initially, it was more the two of us grad students getting it off the ground, and then we kind of turn it over to them. They're starting to get products on there, trying to work on the layout and those sorts of things. But yes, and that was not as easy as it sounds. It's interesting. Everybody says, "Oh, online, just open up an online store, put up a website, and you're good to go." But wow, it's just as difficult, almost as difficult as opening up a brick and mortar store.
Mm-hmm.
Lots to think about.
Absolutely, and again, we keep going back to what this semester has brought us, and when opening up a store and maybe experiencing a little bit of uncertainty, you really needed to maximize on that online portion of it. The online part of it is, I agree with you, just as important as the in-store aspect.
It is. As much as the store in both channels is a student lab, it's also a business, and it does need to make money. It's there to return funds to the department for other student programs, but also in this financial climate with the university and department, it needs to not be a drag financially on the department's finances. And so, yeah, we needed the online to augment sales and get closer to profitability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think the future of the store looks like to you?
Well, I think the future is bright for the store. Especially you think about the name Innovate 1858 and where it is in the Student Innovation Center. it's a good, this is going to be a good space where students can learn how to solve problems hands-on. The heart, I think at the heart of being innovative. But I think the future also for the store, maybe two things. One is it's facing the same challenges that the retail industry is facing, right? Well, I'd say that the nature of retail, go back to my experience there, it just breeds a mindset of where we always look backwards and sideways to do anything, in retail. So we're always looking at, how did we do something last year, last time or something to determine what we're going to do next. Or we look sideways. It's like, well, if we're going to do something, how did they do it? If we're going to do a promotion, how did Kohl's do it? Or how to do it? And we'll just do it a little differently. So that's kind of the problem retail faces. And it stifles innovation, right? And so personally, I think that's the big problem with the retail industry. And so when online comes along, and I think a lot of online retailers were not started by traditional merchants. I mean, you think of like Bezos was a tech guy, right? He starts Amazon. So they don't have that mindset of looking backward. They're always looking forward. Um, I think that's a challenge for Innovate 1858 going forward, is to not get stuck thinking, how did we do it? Or is this, or how did somebody else do this? You know, how did I used to do this at wherever I was? Is to try to think, how should we do this? How should we execute a promotion or find new merchandise or run a store or promote it, whatever it is. So I think that's a challenge. And so,
Well,
yeah, but inside of that, I think the future is still bright. I mean, I think that we've laid a good foundation to think that way.
absolutely. And you know, it's I guess we just have to see, you know, what's in store
Yeah.
with everything playing out. So how do you believe Awesome in general is preparing the next generations of students, specifically within the apparel and retail industries? I know you have academic experience with Iowa State and you know, universities across the country, but as well as, you know, the experiences hosted by the Student Innovation Center. So what's really projecting these students for what lies ahead?
Yeah, I think the strength and where like Innovate 1858, and you think of Sparks, another piece of Awesome is coming in. It's getting students exposed to two things. One is the customer or your audience, and two is the data. And so I think that the more we can get students thinking about whatever they create, whether they're creating something or putting it in a store, you know, think of more about who this is for and start to empathize with their customer and start to paint a picture in their mind of who their customer really is. Because quite frankly, most of the time when you go out and get into your career, your customer is not going to be you. So you can't really buy what you like or design what you like. You're doing it for somebody else. But you know, I think Awesome is doing a good job of positioning itself to help the students empathize with a customer or market and think that way. And then we're collecting data in Sparks and Innovate 1858 to give students exposure to that, because at least in the retail industry, I mean, really now you've got to be comfortable handling data and looking at large data sets. And so I think getting students exposed to that and comfortable with that is a strength.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie, and it's also important to realize, you know, what's behind those numbers, especially
Yeah.
Especially within the retail industry. So.
Yeah. I mean, I just think back, and I've been out of the industry for a number of years now, unfortunately. But I mean, I can remember starting at one of the retailers I worked for the first day, and they were in the middle of implementing new systems, new POS, new item management, ordering, merchandise financial planning, and all of that. And my first day, my boss just sits me down and goes, "Here's your financial planning software. Here's how you log in. Why don't you just look at it for a while and let me know what you think?" It was wrong, and it took me just 15 minutes to see that it was wrong, and then another hour to figure out what I thought was wrong. And I met with my boss to talk about it. But and there were some issues with how they were implementing pulling data. But that skill to be able to look at data and in that context to say what was wrong and why it was wrong, but to be able to understand the data that you're looking at, I mean, that's been an important skill for years, and that's going to be an important skill to have.
Absolutely. Yes. What would your advice be to students looking forward or looking to get into, you know, some of the areas we've talked about today, like apparel or fashion or retailing, product development, sourcing, you know, any of those sorts?
Yeah, I I was thinking about this too. I mean, there's a number of skills, and we talked about it, right? I mean, there's a number of skills that you need to think about having. The knowledge in the classroom is important, but and something that I was trying to teach and innovate this semester to the employees there is you've got to be able to, to do relationship selling. Um, I think it's important to sell products and innovate. You've got to have relationships to sell that product and all that. But I think to sell yourself in the industry is important to be able to develop your network and then to use that network and then to sell your skills and all that. I mean, that helps in advancing your career. Um, and then it's the analytics piece is very important. So just being comfortable with Excel and then with large data. Actually, knowing how to Google how to do something, Excel is just it's going to be immensely important to you if so that you're not scared with Excel. I think retailers nowadays expect you to know Excel. When I was starting out, they had classes that they would run everybody through on how to open Excel. I mean, real basic, but I think they've done away with that. Now the expectation is you need to sit down and start to do some VLOOKUPs. So that's important. But yeah, sell yourself, know analytics. I mean, really, the fashion industry and the retailing industry it's a very, some of the worlds overlap, but within both of those, it's a very small world and it's very interconnected. I mean, everybody is just a couple of degrees separated from everybody else. I mean, so I think developing your network, selling yourself, those are important. Yeah.
Work on collaboration and stuff too, like you said. Yeah, interconnectedness. One's person idea can lead to immense progress within somebody else's field or within somebody else's ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd recommend if you want to get into any of those career paths in this field, I mean, just take the opportunity, take whatever opportunity you can get to get your foot in and then start to sell yourself because it's so connected. I was thinking about just a couple of things real quick. I remember there was a senior executive that came and spoke at Iowa State a few years ago. I think at Payless. Anyway, and he had mentioned that he had worked at Penny's. And so I called my old boss at the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, who was a retired Penny's executive. I said, hey, do you know this person? And, I was like, oh yeah, he used to work for me. And this is, and he told me funny stories about it. I mean, so it's all connected. I remember I went and interviewed with Marshall Fields at the time. Macy's bought them and all that. But the president of Marshall Fields said, hey, you worked at Nieman's. Do you know this person who was a senior vice president back there? And I said, yes, this is my interaction with them, my projects and all that. And he said, oh, great. I'll call him. He's my best friend. We started here and we used to summer together. So I'll just call him and ask him about you. So it's all connected, right? And so you've got to put your best foot forward. You got to do your best, but you got to sell yourself and then just realize, take the opportunity that you can get to get into this industry, make the connections, and that'll help you.
Absolutely. Well said. Very well said. That is all I have here. Do you have any, last comments maybe to some of the students watching, or once again, like just maybe just a last hopeful sentence to help people through trying to cope with what these experiences and times are bringing us.
Well, specific to what's going on in these times, I mean, I want to say that it should get better, like just hang on, tough it out, because I've been through the 2008 financial crisis, and at that time, I'd almost lost my job there, so I had to quit. And it was difficult finding a new job. I've been through the 2000 the tech bubble that burst, the 2001 terrorist attacks. And it was, each of those times, it was tough, but it got better, and I found the opportunities, mostly because I was selling myself and networking. So I want to say it gets better, but then we've also never been through this. And so
just
I hope
outside of the box.
I hope it gets better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then the other thing I'd say is, when you get a chance, come check out Innovate 1858. I mean, it's really a beautiful space. We purposely designed it as a blank canvas. I mean, I'd almost say the fixture and all that is almost too modern, maybe a little too New York, too Dallas, but then we've got a good team in place that has kind of made it look more Iowa in design, and so a little more traditional. So it's great. It's a beautiful space to come check out. And then in the interim, we're online, so check out that innovate1858.com. I mean, this is these are students that are putting it out there, and so we can support them, support the students that made the product, support the students that are running the store. And so I'd say, check it out.
Absolutely. I know that Innovate is open typically Monday through Fridays from 10 to 5. And also during this break or this holiday season, they're currently open 10 to 3 Monday through Friday.
On December 14th through the 23rd, so about a week and a half, it'll be open 10 to 3 Monday through Friday that first week, and then Monday through Wednesday, right before Christmas. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then weekends closed, correct?
Yeah, no weekends. Yeah, that's something we could do in the future if the traffic picks up. If the world starts to turn again, we could do something like that. But yeah, and then we'll be closed, at the 24th through the start of the spring semester. The physical store will be closed, but online we are up and running. Of course, if you order on Christmas, you can order on Christmas, but it may be a couple of days before your order will be shipped.
Sure, yeah.
So.
Thank you for inspiring and giving your insight into what the store has brought. Maybe the futures of all these industries. It was a pleasure to have you, Mr. McKinney.
Good. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I mean, maybe the last bit is just to encourage the students. I mean, I love the retail industry, and I've touched on the fashion industry through Nieman's, through some of the pop-up shop and fashion shows that I've worked with and all there. And I mean, it's just either one of those great careers, great people, which is really what having a job and a career is all about, is the people that you work with. So I'd encourage you, just, jump into this industry. It's fantastic. And then use Innovate 1858 as kind of a springboard to be able to get into there.
Absolutely. Very well said. Thank you once again. To anybody listening in still, this is, once again, the store is open the 14th through the 23rd, Monday through Friday from 10 to 3. And then the following week, right before Christmas, like Mr. McKinney said, Monday through Wednesday-ish. The online store is always open. You can head over to innovate1858.com to check out, the wonderful products and services that they offer. It's definitely something to look forward to, and it's definitely something you want to keep your eye on as, subsequent semesters come up. Tons of great gifts and stuff for the holiday season on there too, so make sure to check it out. And then you can always visit the store in person when they open up back again on the ground level of the Student Innovation Center at 606 Bissell Road in Ames, Iowa. So once again, Mr. McKinney, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week with episode 5. Besides that, have a great day.